What's poppin', beautiful people? Welcome to the Mrs. Best Reviews channel. I am Mrs. Best. I am here a day late and a dollar short. I am so sorry, but we are here to go over the series finale of The Chi. This is season 8, episode 10. This is going to be my review as well as my final thoughts about the season. Please feel free to step in to the comments. We can definitely keep the conversation going in the comments. Let me know how y'all felt about the series finale, what you felt was missed out on, what stories didn't conclude, or anything you feel I missed out on for this great review. But as always, I'm happy to be here. I do encourage everybody to please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel. I am newly monetized. I am newer here on YouTube. I appreciate all the support I'm getting, whether you subscribe, whether you like the video or not. I do thank you. I appreciate you, and I welcome you, okay? Now, other friendly reminders, always tap in with the links in the description of this video. There are links to people I regularly co-host with, such as James from Watch Your Mouth Reviews, Erica from Keyway on JTV, and Shayna from Shayna_MCD, as well as Tamika's Den, Miss Kira Speaks. Great content creators who also cover this show, as well as a variety of other content. I love to uplift those who uplift me, so please consider checking them out. But let's get into The Chi. This was the series finale. There's a lot that I was happy with, but I think there was more that I was disappointed in as it relates to how this show ended. But let's first just go over what happened throughout the episode. So we pick off with Keisha telling Emmett that she decided to kick Tiffany out of their wedding. And the reason she kicked Tiff out of the wedding is because she don't want her in her life no more. Honestly, if somebody I was good friends with, who I was good friends with, in a situation where like we both slept with the same man, which is kind of weird, but I digress on that situation. Like, I would have a problem with you offing my baby daddy. Like, I would have a problem with it. And I know Nuck is not somebody that Keisha should be grieving over, but at the very minimum, because unaliving Nuck impacts Keisha's son, Ronnie, I do feel like Tiff should have thought, but Tiff was also concerned because her baby daddy was unalived by Nuck. So it's one of those things where I'm like right in the middle. I see Tiff's perspective. I also see Keisha's perspective. What I will say is Tiff is far more selfish than Keisha could ever be. Keisha's really just bad when it comes to her husband. I feel like she puts everything before Emmett. But when it comes to the situation with her and Tiff, Tiff is just far more selfish in how she moves. But Emmett explains that he can't just cut Tiff out of his life. Why? Well, they kind of have a baby together, even though her mama's taking care of the baby. But you can't just cut people out of your life. You have to absolutely, it makes sense that he's not doing this. And plus, there's a lot of other stuff they know that people have done that is bad. So we're not just going to single out Nuck because it happens to be Keisha's baby daddy. Like, that part to me is weird. But either way, this is what's happening with them. Now, we later get to see that Victor is out, and Emmett is basically going to be using Rashad's backyard of the house that his dad gifted him. He's going to be using the backyard so that they could have the wedding because they don't really want Tiff to be as involved. Honestly, Emmett and Keisha, well, we'll say mostly Keisha because Emmett wasn't trying to have Tiff a part of planning the wedding, but I personally feel like Tiff should never have been that involved. Like, it's your wedding. Traditionally, the bride side of the family is supposed to pay. And if they can't, then figure it out with your partner. Don't go asking his ex-wife and baby mama for help. I thought that was weird, even without all that was happening with Nuck, but that could just be me. But it is what it is. Rashad's going to let them use the backyard. Now, Tiffany has the audacity. So much audacity, y'all. Tiff had the audacity to show up. Oh, Lord, these curls are getting on my nerves. I'm going to have to take this mess out. But she has the audacity to show up to Keisha's house. And she wants to talk to her. I do feel like even though she had a lot of audacity doing it, it was the right thing to do. Because, again, Tiff has always been selfish and made stupid decisions. No shade to anybody out there, but Tiff gives classic baby mama from the neighborhood. She just does in all 50 states. Like, she never really, in my opinion, like, the whole marijuana business that Tiff had, I never really took that seriously. Like, if your biggest goal is to be like this drug dealer. Like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know. Tiff is just hot mess express, but she does show up to Keisha's house to try and talk stuff through. And Keisha's dumbass forgave her. Talk about for the sake of the children. I don't like that. I feel like the writers of The Chi failed, and I hope that this group of writers never works together again on any show. I hope they remain employed, but I hope they switch it up just because I feel like they did a really bad job with Tiff's character. Now, it doesn't make sense for Keisha to forgive this. It didn't make sense for Tiff to pop oh boy the way she did. A lot doesn't make sense, but to forgive her for the sake of the children is crazy. Because if anything, you have a right to have a beef with her for the sake of the children. Because what happens if the children find out one day that Auntie Tiff is the one who took away Ronnie's dad? Like, and I feel like because it's a series finale, they maybe should have thought about that, because some of the audience may have been thinking about it, but it could be me. Let me know if y'all think Amina is doing too much, because maybe I am doing too much in my thought process. But they made peace. Now, Bakari is with his sister and tells her that he does love her and that he has decided that him and Lene are going to go to Chicago. Now, when they did this because of the music and lighting, I said, the Chi writers, you guys are also weak as hell, because can you do something other than plagiarize movies we've seen? Everything that they have done with Bakari from this season as well as last season, in my personal opinion, for those of us who know our Black films, it's definitely giving Menace to Society. It's also giving a little bit of Boys in the Hood. Ooh, what is that other movie? Jason's Lyric. It's also low-key giving a little bit of Jason's Lyric. That's just me. That could just be me, but I don't like when producers do this. I feel like there's a lot of plagiarism and a lot of remakes that are out right now, just in general, even outside of the Chi as it relates to film and TV. And listen, I get it. But to the millennials who are now the main producers and all of that, can we please not recycle ideas? Let's come up with new ideas for shows. I don't like that. And even with how it ended with Bakari, I'm still not happy with what they did with his character. I thought it was weak writing. And I would, as my college professor would say, it was broad. It was lazy. It could have given more. Like, that's how I feel. That's just how I feel. Now, we get to Keisha's wedding. And Keisha's wedding, it was nice, but I'm going to keep it a buck with y'all. I did not give a flying you-know-what to watch a wedding on television, especially a fictional wedding. I mean, we watched the prep for the wedding, before the wedding, the bachelor party, the bachelorette party. We watched the ceremony, the reception. Like, we watched too much for this to have been like a televised wedding. Like, come on, even reality TV don't make us sit through all of this. So I don't know what the hell the writers were thinking there, but it's okay. It was still a better wedding. I like the way Keisha looked. I don't know if anybody noticed when she was trying on dresses in a previous episode, she was going to choose another dress. I'm glad that she chose the dress that she put on for the wedding. I thought Emmett looked nice. Lineup was fresh per usual. Shout out Jacob Lattimore. But I don't know. I was just kind of like, eh. The good thing about the wedding is we all got irritated. At least I got irritated because they showed Riley, aka the character played by Wendy Raquel Robinson. They showed Riley saying to Keisha, I'll do anything for you. You know, I don't mind helping with the wedding. I never had a daughter of my own. And in my head, I said, oh, hell no. You sure haven't. Where is Nina? Where is Nina? I was wondering at that point. I said, where is she at? And then Nina comes, and it looks like Keisha didn't know her mom would show up. And I was happy they at least had Keisha address the fact that Nina missed the birth of her child. She was like, you missed the birth of my child. Listen, Nina was there to help you birth Lil Ronnie out in the tub, just for you to end up taking Lil Ronnie and giving him to that other lady, if y'all remember seasons ago, just to be like, I want my baby back. But I was happy to see Nina. Now, what I would love to say, Nina looked good. Nina got away from the Chi and got a real job and said, hey, I'm still acting, but I look good. She looked really good. Beautiful woman, and I love to see her back on the show. I wish they would have given a moment to Dre, but you know, what can we do? Dre was at the wedding. No, I've been seeing in the Facebook groups and all of the fan groups online. Why wasn't Dre there? Open your eyes and pay attention. You're watching something, so you shouldn't just be listening to it. Dre was there. Maisha was there. Pretty much everybody was at the wedding who we wanted to see. Hannibal, who is the cousin of Coogie and Coogie's older brother, who had to leave the show because that little light-skinned girl lied on him. But he did make a comeback as well. He's out. Angie is who he's with, but he could tell that she got a new man. Not surprised. Honestly, if she can't hold you down while you locked up, she's not for you. I said what I said. Companionship, sex, all of that, it's nice. But let's be real. If my husband were to go down, I'm not cheating. I'm holding him down and buying a great vibrator. Okay. That's what's going to happen. So I was looking at Angie's character okay, they did say he was a little bit of a bop, a 304, if you will. But I'm not surprised. And I was really happy to see Kyla Pratt in an adult role. I feel like I always see her playing a kid, or even she made the comeback to do the Proud Family reboot on Disney Channel. But I'm glad to see that. But this is another unanswered story we got. Where was Smitty? What happened with Smitty? What are we doing? The Shy writers. Smitty was on a vengeance to come for everybody. He was looking for Bakari. He took over the 63rd Street mob for Nuck, at least his little sector or section. So I didn't quite understand why they would just suddenly cut Smitty out of things. I feel like that didn't need to happen. I really wanted a conclusion to his character, but it is what it is. Maybe Mrs. Best missed something. Y'all can let me know if I missed something, but I would have liked a little bit more resolution as it related to Smitty and Angie and that whole situation, because they made it seem like him and Angie in the last episode was going to be cool after she bailed him out, and then we just did not see him. Now, at Smokey's, Keith is cleaning up, and poor Keith, at this point, get a job somewhere else, because every time Keith is at Smokey's, somebody shady as hell comes in there looking for someone. This time, somebody came in looking for Bakari, and Keith was like, I don't know where he at. And I said, oh, Lord, they finna unalive Bakari. They already following the story plot. They finna unalive Bakari. But we're going to put a pin in that and come back to it. Papa is with Kenya, and apparently Papa is sober. His braids still look like crap. They stiff as hell, the neck braids. And I don't think we got resolution for Papa. I think of all the characters on The Shy, I am the most disappointed in what the writers did with Papa. Papa was beloved and goofy. And while I understand that he went through things in his character development that changed him, he essentially just became a pothead and a YN who don't break the law. That's it. And he ended up with the girl that his father did not want him with. Come on, y'all. Papa's dad did not want him to date Kenya because of who Pastor Zeke was. And then Pastor Zeke swooped in to take care of Papa, but he was also on some shady stuff. Papa's dad was right about him, just for Pastor Zeke to end up unalived. So I'm looking at the whole situation and I'm low-key irritated, because I'm like, why would y'all do this with Papa's character? We needed more resolution, or at least for something more to happen with him than for him to end up with Kenya. I'll get to everything at the end that they explained, but even with what we saw Papa doing at the end, I just felt like being sober. What did he say to Kenya? I'm sober now since this morning. Nobody takes us seriously. I didn't understand why they did that. Jake and his little girlfriend are going to move in together. I'm not surprised. Honestly, Jake's character has been one that has tried to date, has tried to be faithful, aside from him stealing Gemma from Kevin, because y'all know Gemma was a regular 304. I've liked Jake's character development, and I feel like there was nowhere else they could really go with him outside of his family, so I am okay with him moving in with that girl. Now, at the wedding, Mrs. Best was irritated because they let Tiff stay. Not only did Tiff get to be at the wedding, they let her be in the wedding. And I did not feel like she deserved to be in the wedding, not after what happened. Moving forward, you don't need to move forward for the sake of the children. I just felt like that was inappropriate. But everybody looked beautiful at the wedding. I will say that. Kevin. Now, for those who did not watch earlier seasons of The Shy, Kevin is such a pivotal character. And personally, if Kevin would have stayed on The Shy, I do feel like The Shy could have maybe made it to 10 seasons. Let me know if y'all think I'm wrong, but I definitely feel like The Shy could have maybe made it to 10 seasons. Kevin's character is so pivotal. We opened the show really with Kevin experiencing what happened with Coogie going and looking at OG Ronnie to figure that out, running from him. Kevin connected us to Emmett. Kevin connected us to so many characters on the show and was a pivotal part. We literally watched this young man grow up on the show. I do understand why you would leave a show when you've been on it for so long. You don't want to be typecasted. It's extremely difficult. But I was so happy to see Kevin come back. I knew he would be back. I had a feeling because me and my husband was like, they better bring Kevin back. They better bring him back, even if for a cameo. And they did. He showed up late a little bit for Keisha to walk her down the aisle. But honestly, if you know the dynamic between Keisha and Kevin, I'm just thinking of earlier seasons, Keisha jogging and running and Kevin trying to keep up because he loved his sister so much. I would have loved a dialogue between Keisha and Kevin about Nuck. I just feel like even though they wrote Kevin out of the show, they could have still found ways to keep his name alive. Like Keisha could have been texting her brother for support. They could have shown scenes with her on the phone with Nina. I feel like they just kind of forgot about them once they left, and I did not like that. But I was happy to see that he was back and walking her down the aisle. He's so grown up now. That's how you know I'm old. I said, look at these babies, all grown up, all grown up. Sounded like my Nana. If you are still watching, I do hope you consider liking the video. You can also hype the video now. I am a new creator. Hyping the video really does help us. And I do appreciate y'all in advance. Now, back onto the wedding. After Kevin walked Keisha down the aisle and gave her away, Tiff and Emmett had a scene together. I was like, whatever. We not going to act like everything's cool when Tiff has given Emmett hell. Y'all remember Tiff asked for the open relationship just for Emmett to move on, and then she wanted him back after it wasn't working when Tia Mowry's ex-husband was on the show, like all this stuff. So I'm looking at Tiff and Emmett like, y'all could have a co-parenting relationship, but I need them to keep it at co-parenting and nothing more. And not even co-parenting, as quiet as kept, Emmett could co-parent with Tiff's mother, because she, no shade, Tiff is trash when it comes to parenting. I'm like, you sent your baby away while keeping the other baby. Well, really, you should have sent both kids away. You asked for an open relationship, did your best friend dirty, unalived your man and your best friend's baby daddy. Like, Tiff is just a hot mess express. Okay, chugging along throughout Chicago, ruining people's lives and days. Then she tried to come after Bakari. I don't care what nobody say. I know Bakari is the one that unalived Big Ronnie. He deserved that. He killed a kid for no reason. But I don't like that what Tiff tried to do with Bakari's character, trying to force him to take the rap for unaliving Nuck when you did it. That's a bit much. Like, yeah, he owed you some type of loyalty, but let him do security for you. I thought that was too much. Now, Victor and Rashad gave a speech together at the wedding, which was nice. And Tiff was talking to her mama at the wedding and was like, I want my baby back. You know how many moms out there? Shout out to all of the moms. Okay? I'm tired of people just shouting out single moms. We gonna shout out all of the moms, single and everything in between. Y'all matter. Okay? Because guess what? A lot of moms don't have the option to just give their baby to somebody else because they're in a situation where they can't be there for them. A lot of moms don't have that option. And even though Tiff did it because her mom low-key threatened her to go to court, you know, she said to her mama she want her baby back. And she also invites her mother to move in with her. Tiffany said, if I'm getting my child back, I'm getting the in-house babysitter with the child, okay? But I think that'd be good for Tiff. Her character throughout the season has obviously struggled with the relationship she had with her mom. I think she dove into that a little more this season, but I think that her moving in is a good thing. Other points that happened in the wedding. Fatima and Victor are back together. Who cares? I would love to know who cares. I'm genuinely asking, because I could give a flying, you know what? I do not care about Fatima and Victor being back together. Where is Imani? People getting vaccinations should be their choice. The fact that Imani was allegedly not welcome back on the Shy because the woman who played her did not want to get a COVID shot is crazy, especially when you fast forward 2 years later when they see all the crap that's wrong with them. Just saying. But I don't care about Victor and Fatima. I feel like Fatima played games, but I guess they're going to be back together. Victor caught the little thing the groom takes off the bride. Fatima caught the bouquet. whatever. Best wishes to them. I could give a flying you know what about them. Please don't do this no more. I am all for representation of trans people. I am all for representation of those who consider lesbian, gay, or bisexual. That's not the problem. The problem is I feel like they were so committed to having representation on this show that they are forcing Victor to be with a character who he didn't have great on-screen chemistry with, for one. The person who plays Fatima is a terrible actress, in my opinion. I was not moved once. She didn't really connect with any of the other characters. And I didn't like her for Victor's character because as he tried to do well for himself, I feel like Fatima tried to keep him down and make her the priority over everything else. I just didn't care for the storyline, but I am happy that Victor had some type of a happy ending. But what can I do? Now, the last part of this wedding that we see is a montage of clips of all of the old characters that were on the show. We see Maisha, Kevin, Papa, and Jake. I was really disappointed that they didn't give them dialogue. It's the series freaking finale, not season, the series finale. Kevin should have had more lines. Dre should have been seen giving Keisha some type of support or love, or at least seated in the front, because Dre raised Keisha and Kevin with Nina because their dad wasn't president, that he ended up passing away. So I didn't understand why Dre wasn't incorporated more. Debrat was there. Woohoo. I know Nina left to be with Debrat, but I would have at least loved to see a scene. Like later on, we see Lene packing up with Bakari, which we're going to get to in a moment. I feel like that would have been a great opportunity to have Dre, because Dre is the reason that Lene ended up being taken in by Kevin and Nina. Because Dre, as we remember, was a counselor, her character, and Lene was struggling because she didn't have any appropriate support. Her brother was with the shit and doing all this craziness. And Dre took Lene in, and Nina accepted her as a result of that. I felt like we could have seen more from Dre, Nina, and Kevin. And Kevin was good friends with Lene. Like, I don't like what they did there. I felt like it was lazy, but maybe they didn't want to pay Maisha and Nina and Kevin and Dre. Maybe they didn't want to pay all of them. Maybe they did not want to pay them. It could have been a budgeting thing, but I feel like they failed as it related to bringing back older people. We didn't just want to see them. We wanted to interact. We wanted to get updates. We didn't get any updates on Kevin's video gaming and how successful he's been in California. We don't know what the hell happened to Dre. Dre just disappeared from the show one day and popped up on Power Book series with a damn wig. For those who are wondering what Power Book, because I know a lot of people did not care for Power Book Force as much, but Dre was on, the woman who plays Dre was on Power Book Force, which was centered around Tommy Egan's character. And she actually played one of the AUSA, one of the attorney people, one of the federal people. So I didn't understand why they couldn't give more, but it is what it is. At least everybody showed up. I was happy to see that. I understand that actors have to grow in their career. Now, we do get to see Reg being visited by his brothers. He broke down in tears, but he gonna do his bid. I do believe him when he says that nobody gonna mess with him in jail, because Reg been in the streets. The streets is all he knows. So if anybody has to be in jail, Reg being in jail, I do feel is appropriate, because he got away with so much and never had to own up to it. And it also shows like accountability for his character, like the stuff that he did. I love to see that Reg, Victor, and Jake are going to be supporting each other, because that's really what we wanted, was for their brotherhood to heal. I feel like that was the best conclusion, aside from Emmett and Keisha getting married, that we could have gotten from this season. So I was happy with that. Now, we see a Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society. It looked like Kane getting unalived right before he moved. Okay. It wasn't Kane going to Atlanta also from South Central or something. I got to rewatch it, y'all. I love Menace to Society. That's my husband's favorite movie, which is funny, but he loved that movie. But, and my best friend. So shout out to Also Best, and shout out to Leona Sheree. Those are my best friend and my husband. They love Menace to Society and have had Mrs. Best watched it more times than I would want. But Bakari and Lene are packing up the old house. He was gunned down. We all saw this coming because the writers were not predictable at all. And we then get to see that Papa went back on the air for his little podcast. Again, no growth with this character. He just went backwards to stuff he was doing. I want to see what he's going to do as an adult. How's he going to grow? How's he going to support him in Kenya and that baby she got? We would love to know. But we end the series with Bakari living with a terrible weave. Who did that to Bakari's hair? Now, I know my little crochets is old right now. I'm about to take them out on Friday. Shout out to Melita, my braider. But who did that to Bakari's hair? Now, y'all know one thing about the Black community. We're going to look at your shoes and we're going to look at your hair. What happened? Who did it? Who, what, when, where, why, and how? I need to know. Doesn't make any sense. But Bakari lived. His book became popular. Lene is pregnant in a Spelman shirt. So I'm like, did she go to an HBCU? I don't know. But it looks like they got a happy ending. Now, here's what I'm going to say. I enjoyed the updates for everybody, but there are some things that need to be addressed. Number one, Rosalind just got away with unaliving Alicia. The Chicago PD just accepted that they had evidence pointing to Tiff for the person who unalived Nut, and then right in front of PD's face and detective's face, Victor tried to take the fall for it, and then Victor's brother conveniently comes and it's like, nah, it was me. And Chicago PD accepted that. Now, I've heard in real life Chicago PD is a joke, just like OPD here in Oakland. I just don't like police very much right now, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. What was it? Between actual bad experiences that I've had personally being harassed by the police, all 130 pounds of me apparently is a threat to the Hayward police here in California. But aside from bad experience, I've watched too many other people with bad experiences. And I think the most impactful thing for me was COVID, especially Breonna Taylor, because we were the same age. Her birthday's around the same time as me. That actually hit me. So I was one of the people that was out there protesting against police and all of that. I'm not gonna lie. Now I do understand the need for them, but joke. But maybe the writers thought about that and wrote it in, because Chicago PD's acceptance of Reg for this crime was crazy. But maybe they just wanted to catch Reg. But I feel like there were some unresolved storylines that we had within the show, and I wish that they would have answered those questions. And I feel like they could have got it answered in some of the other episodes. Like, there were a lot of filler episodes this season where I was like, come on, it's the series finale. We should get a bigger ending. But the Chi has never really been like super fast paced as it relates to storylines and action. So it is what it is, and we ain't got no choice but to accept it because it's done. But I love the Chi. I absolutely love the Chi. I appreciated a show about Black people growing up in the hood. It showed that not everybody that's in the hood is bad. Not everybody in the hood is just going to become a baby mama and not get their life right, not work a job. It's hard out here for people, but people can still find beauty in the worst of neighborhoods. And I thought they did a good job of showing that with Chicago. For those who do not know, my family, my husband's side of the family, my mother-in-law, who is a frequenter of this channel, is from Chicago, born and raised. My husband lived in Chicago during parts of his childhood. The culture there is strong. The people there are incredible. They are beautiful. And the Black people there are excellent. Yes, Chicago has its problems, just like everywhere has their problems. I'm from Oakland, California. We have our problems also. But there's a great sense of community within sometimes the worst of areas. And I did think that the show writers did a great job showcasing that. So the Chi is over. Let me know you guys' final thoughts, what you feel I may have missed. What I will be covering next as it relates to shows will be Fightland. I will also be covering Snowfall's The Drop. I will cover P-Valley later this year once P-Valley returns. I will be covering all of the new Power books that are coming, Origins and all of that. We're going to finish out Raising Kanan for the season. And other than that, I've got a couple of other reality shows coming. But love and light to everybody. I appreciate you for watching, and I will see you for my next review. Peace.